Welcome to my next Lost. Season 4 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am or rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen the TV show Lost 3 other times. It's one of my top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. However, I'm not the only one that's currently watching Lost. The legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who you see in my comment section for Breaking Bad, Dexter Original Sin, Dexter New Blood, soon to be Dexter Resurrection, Lucifer, and some physical media related videos, actually watching Lost for the first time. So, join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comment section. However, I don't want to see any spoilers past this particular episode. So with all that said, this will be Lost Season 4, Episode 7. The title of this episode is called Yeon, and this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. Frank's holding a small brown paper bag and is confronted by Kimi, who warns him, "Don't be late." Frank travels to the lower level of the ship where he meets Regina, who seems somewhat distant and a little confused, and Frank tells her that the captain wants him to bring the paper bag to Saeed and Desmond, and that the book she is reading is upside down. So Regina is reading a book upside down, like she's pretending to do something, or just things are really messed up with her right now. As Frank enters the room with Desmond and Saeed, the door can be heard locking from the outside. Frank says the captain is upset about them busting out of the old room, and Saeed responds the door was left open and he had assumed Frank did it. Saeed asks if he had communication with the islanders, and Frank remarks their satellite phone must be broken. Frank dumps the contents of the bag to reveal several containers of lima beans and says that they have a problem with the kitchen. He gives Saeed a can opener, and as he tells him to stay put, knocks on the door and is let out by Regina. Sun and Jin are on the beach when Sun questions why Saeed and Desmond have not come back after 3 days. Jin comforts her and tells her that he wants to talk about baby names. Sun does not want to discuss it, saying it is bad luck. Jin, who is confident the baby is a girl, suggests the name Jeong. Sun says it is a beautiful name, but she doesn't want to jinx the baby. They make a deal to get off the island first before discussing it further. And then we have a flash forward. Sun is packing a suitcase and applying makeup while watching the Korean dubbed episode of Exposé. When she begins to feel pain, she phones for an ambulance, and the camera pulls back to reveal that she is very far along in her pregnancy. Then we have a flashback of Jin, who's on a phone call saying that he will be at the hospital soon. He rushes into a store and buys a large stuffed panda. Obviously, you've seen the episode, I hope, by watching this, so there's flash forwards and flashbacks in this episode. Back to the island, Sun wakes Jin and informs him that Kate and Jack have returned. Sun finds Kate and asks what happened. Kate tells her how Charlotte hit her and that they had gone to a poison gas factory. Kate remarks that they were trying to earn some brownie points. She also says Juliet lied about the Tempest being a power station, probably out of habit. Sun asks Kate if Daniel and Charlotte are really there to rescue them, and Kate replies that they talked about a lot of things, but none of them were about rescue. Desmond awakens to find Saeed eating a can of lima beans. Someone slips a folded note through the vent on the cabin door. As Saeed picks it up, he tells Desmond that Ben claimed that there was a spy on the boat, and the note reads, "Don't trust the captain." Sun approaches Daniel Faraday, who has taken the phone apart, and they introduce themselves. Sun asks him if they are going to rescue them, and Daniel says that isn't his call. Sun asks whose call is it, and he doesn't respond, and Sun thanks him and leaves. Jin is making breakfast, and Jack compliments him on his improving English. Jin says that both Sun and Sawyer have been teaching him, but Sun is better at it. He can just learn nicknames from Sawyer, probably. Sun comes running up, but he stops at the side of Jack. Jack inquires about her health, and she says the morning sickness has stopped. After Jack leaves, Sun tells Jin to pack food for 2 days because they are moving to John Locke's group. Sun is going through the medical supplies to find her prenatal vitamins when Juliet arrives suddenly. She confronts Sun about why she would need a new bottle unless she is going on a trip. Juliet reminds Sun that pregnant women die on the island and Sun needs to escape. But Sun doesn't trust Juliet and takes the pills anyway, still determined to join John Locke's group. Back to our flash forward, at the hospital, two nurses comment to each other that Sun is one of the Oceanic Six. She is going into labor and the baby is, according to the doctor, in distress. Sun asks them to inform her husband and repeatedly calls for Jin, indicating her desire to not give birth until he arrives. Obviously, you probably already know what's going to happen if you've seen the episode. If you haven't, well, spoiler alert. Back to our flashback, Jin yells for a cab and puts the bear in it. But before he can get inside, another pedestrian gets in and the cab speeds off. Going back into the store, Jin attempts to buy another panda. The store owner suggests a stuffed dragon since it brings good luck in the year of the dragon, which implies the time frame is somewhere in between February 2000 to January of 2001. Jin insists that he must have the panda. He ends up paying an exorbitant price for one, which he had been reserved for another customer. Back to the island, Kate draws Jin and Sun a map to Locke's barracks. She warns them that she will have to tell Jack they left, but says that she will give them a good head start. Sun and Kate agree that Jack won't understand why they are leaving. As they are saying goodbye, they are interrupted by Juliet, who forbids Sun to leave. Juliet warns Jin that Sun is very ill and will die within 3 weeks if she does not leave the island. But Jin doesn't appear to understand what Juliet is saying, and Sun refuses to translate. Sun is not swayed, and Jin supports her, saying, "Where Sun go, I go." Juliet then tells Jin that Sun had an affair, and Sun slaps Juliet, and Jin storms off. Sun catches up with Jin and tries to plead with him to stay, saying the affair was a long time ago. Jin is leaving with fishing gear when Bernard unknowingly interrupts and their argument to ask if Jin can go fishing with him. When he realizes they were having an argument, he apologizes, saying it was a bad time, and Jin tells Bernard he can come along. Jin and Bernard are fishing on the outrigger when Bernard talks of some of the difficulties of marriage. Bernard then confides in Jim, telling him how the island appears to have healed Rose of her cancer. And Bernard says that though Rose would not like to stay on the island, she did not want to go with Locke because staying with Jack was the right thing to do, and good karma leads to good consequences. Upon Jin catching a fish, Bernard tells Jin it was karma. Saeed and Desmond are released from the sickbay for their meeting with the captain. When they emerge on the deck, they immediately notice that the helicopter is gone. They are told that Frank Lapidus has gone on an errand and are led to believe that he has returned to the island. Regina then appears draped with large chains, and as if in a trance, she walks over to the side of the ship, climbs over the railing, and throws herself into the ocean. Desmond and Saeed attempt to rally the crew to save her, but the captain appears and orders the men back to their posts. When they meet Captain Galt, he says the crew has cabin fever. Saeed and Desmond begin to get an idea of the freighter's crew mission. The captain shows them the flight data recorder, the black box of Oceanic Flight 815, and tells them it was obtained by Charles Whitmore. He explains that the wreckage was found in the bottom of the ocean and included 324 dead bodies. He then explains it was obviously a stage find, but that it is frightening to think about the fact that somebody had the power and the resources to do such a thing, especially procuring 324 bodies. The captain remarks that this was one of the reasons why they need to capture Benjamin Linus. Sun and Juliet talk, and Juliet confides to her that staying on the island would really kill her and her child. Back to our flash forward. Sun, distressed from the labor, mistakes a hospital visitor for her husband, while the doctor debates with Sun whether to perform the circumcision, or the cesarean section. I mean, that's what I meant. And the delivery room nurse informs the doctor that the baby has crowned. Soon a daughter is born. Ray, now with a wound on his cheek, takes Desmond and Saeed to a filthy new room on the quiet part of the ship. Desmond notes that the ship is not moving, to which Ray responds, "If you say so." Upon entering the new room, they find it contains cockroaches and a large bloodstain on the wall. Evidently, the previous occupant of the room committed suicide. Ray observes that the room should already have been cleaned and calls Kevin Johnson, who has been down the hall mopping the floor, to wipe up the stain. As Kevin walks down the hall and into the light, Saeed recognizes him as Michael Dawson, played by Harold Perrineau. Desmond introduces himself, this being the first meeting between the two, and while Saeed is shocked, he plays along with Michael's lie in order to feel the situation out. Jin finds Sun and tells her he knows why she had an affair, because he was the man he was before he came to the island. He says he is different now and would do anything to protect Sun and their new baby. He then asks her to tell him the truth about whether the baby is his. Sun cries and tells Jin the baby is his. Back to our flashback, Jin rushes through the hospital entrance carrying the stuffed panda. Upon arriving at the maternity ward, Jin approaches a room which has a man standing guard. Outside, Jin identifies himself as working for Mr. Pak, offers his congratulations to the ambassador for being a grandfather, and states that as a representative of Pike Automotive, he has brought a gift. Before the guard, who tells Jin to wait there, can enter the hospital room, Jin asks the baby's gender. The guard responds it's a boy. And as the guard turns to enter the door, Jin throws a pink ribbon on the waiting area table and wraps the panda's neck with a blue ribbon. An older man comes out of the room, and Jin presents the bear as a token of Mr. Pike's esteem. Jin informs the ambassador that Mr. Pike is looking forward to doing business in China. As he is leaving the hospital, a doctor asks why Jin is leaving so early. He informs her that it's not his baby. She says, well, maybe someday, to which he replies, don't rush me. I've only been married 2 months. Now back to our flash forward. Sun is back at her apartment, removes her wedding ring from the hospital bag where it was placed just before the birth, and puts it on her finger. She then is applying her makeup when she hears the knock at the door. It's Hurley in a formal suit, who has come to see the baby. He asks if anyone else is coming and says good when she answers no. While admiring the baby, Hurley comments that she looks just like Jin. Then he suggests that the two should go visit him. They travel to a cemetery and stand in front of a tombstone with the date 9/24/2004 inscribed on it. Sun looks at the tombstone and tells Jin that she misses him, and that she named their daughter Yeon as he wanted, ending the episode. So Jin has died on the island, apparently. So this is a good episode. Some slow moments, though. A confusing flashback, flash forward stuff. Obviously, you didn't think the scenes with Jin were actually a flashback until the end. So I'm going to give the episode an 8.2 out of 10. My characters of the episode are going to be Sun and Jin. Obviously, they were the focal point of the episode. And nobody else, in my opinion, really stood out. Obviously, Michael's return in this episode, and we'll find out more about the character of Kevin Dawson, or Kevin Johnson, played by Michael. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate the episode, and who would you choose as characters of the episode. And remember, you'll be interacting with me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man, so make sure you ask away. Just no spoilers past this particular episode. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching any video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Join the team, share your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.